Hello and welcome all to another Lean In event, Networking Strategies for Every Career Stage, a panel and interactive networking event. I am Amrita Agarwal and I'm the events team lead here at Lean In Canada's Vancouver chapter, and I'm really excited to bring this event to you all so that we can all learn from our experts today on how to network. Thank you so much for joining us today and supporting Lean In throughout these events. We would love to see your beautiful faces during the event, so please turn on the video if you're able, and we would really love that. And if you can mute yourselves, that would be really wonderful while our speakers are speaking. In the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll be happy to answer them. So our today's agenda is as follows. We will first begin with the panel discussion and then join Dina and Diane in separate meeting rooms to get our burning questions answered. We will then meet back here and be sorted into random breakout rooms to network with the amazing attendees we have here today. But before we get started, I would really like to encourage you all to become members of our Lean In community by signing up on our website. It's very easy and it's free of cost, and you'd be able to keep up with all of our amazing events to come. So let's get started with networking. I am so happy to introduce Diane Du, who is an innovative, visionary, transformative, and versatile senior executive with a unique combination of experience. She is a value-based leader who is passionate about making a positive impact in the lives of people and overall health of communities. She has served as a board of director of several organizations across technology startups, financial services, real estate, business association, healthcare, and not-profit industries. She is currently the principal at Promedita Group and previously held a position as a CEO of Prospera Credit Union. Thank you so much for joining us, Diane. I'm also happy to welcome Dina Liu, who is a calligrapher and business coach for calligraphers based in Vancouver, BC. She specializes in teaching public and corporate team building calligraphy workshops in Vancouver, as well as coaching calligraphers around the world on how to turn their creative passions into profitable businesses. Previously, she worked in international trade for different government departments. She graduated from the University of British Columbia in 2017 with a Bachelor of Commerce and regularly volunteers her time to mentoring young entrepreneurs through the Canadian charity League of Innovators and high school girls through the YWCA. Thank you so much for joining us, Dina, today. Now, for the event that you all have been waiting for, let's get to some networking questions. So my first question is going to be for both of you, Dina and Diane. How have you used networking in your career?
Dina, you want to go first?
Yeah, okay, sure. I can go first. So hi, everyone. It's really nice to meet you. Wow, we have 67 people. That's amazing. So I have used networking to do all sorts of things in my career. All the way from when I was in university, I learned to network to get mentors and to get internships and to get different volunteer kind of opportunities. And after I graduated, when I started working in government offices and in international trade, I actually the teams that I worked for, they would send me to go on to go to different places and to network so I could help them bring in clients. So I also use networking to bring in different kinds of clients for the teams that I worked for. And just to give you a bit of background, I worked in international trade for about 2 years and then quit my job to do calligraphy. You don't know what calligraphy is? These are some calligraphy pens. So this is a pointed pen, this is a brush pen, and this is calligraphy. So I teach these. Was I muted?
Yeah.
Okay. And I teach these team building corporate workshops. So because I have to try to get in contact with a lot of companies, I've used networking a lot to get in contact with companies. I usually use social media like Instagram and LinkedIn to do that. And also I've done some cold emailing. So all sorts of things. Also getting mentors.
You know, you'll be very disappointed to hear what I'm going to say after you hear from Dina. I'm actually being forced into networking at some point of my career, and that's not something I was comfortable to do to begin with. But with career progressing, and that's become a part of my job, and I have to, and that's how I started. And once I start doing networking, of course, I'm using networking for multiple different things, for learning, for education, and for finding my own opportunity, next career movement, and for business development, and for recruiting my team members. So, that's how I use my networking time. But I have to tell you, I don't know, I'm the only one in this room. I'm really not a natural person, like to network to begin with. I'm being forced into a situation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Diane and Dina, for your input. And Diane, that actually brings us to our next question. And also from our poll, I can see 44% of our people here are here to gain confidence to network. So my next question to you guys is, when you first started out, did networking seem daunting to you? And how did you finally overcome your inhibitions?
All right, so I will start. Dina, since I'll bring the concept of being not an extrovert to begin with for networking. I tell you, like, this is not natural for me at beginning. It's not because I'm shy person or something. I'm just naturally more comfortable to social with people I know, and just that way. I think more natural. And how I start getting networking is, like I mentioned to you, is I'm being forced to. And I'm not sure if you're in a situation. I think people come to network a lot of situations for learning education, lots about business development, but many of us going to network more for a career advancement or change or something surrounding that subject. And I was in a organization, I'm very comfortable working there for many years, and almost 20 years. And at one point I realized, it's time for me to change career. And when I'm thinking about what to do and who I'm networking with, what's happening in the market, I very sadly find the people I know and I'm familiar with is all in the same organization. So it's very difficult for me to think about, okay, if I don't want to work in here anymore for many different reasons, I don't even look around my contact list. I don't have too many people are out of the organization. So that's the time I start talking to a headhunter. Actually, they were talking to me about different things. So I was talking to them. I said, okay, you know what? It's this time. It's my turn to go networking outside. What should I do? And I remember one of the headhunters and said to me, Diane, this is what you have to do. You have to make sure you meeting with 2 people a week. Start with 2. And here's a set of questions, and here's the homework you have to do before you're meeting with them. And every single time after you meet one person, you have to ask this person to introduce 2 more people for you. And you have to be doing that religiously, set in your calendar, this is the time you have to do it, and you got to go out to do it. So I was forced to do, that kind of networking for career changing. And of course, for other type of networking, that's much easier because you go there for education, you go there for already a setting for you format. Like today, the format is there. You roughly know what you're getting into, but you're meeting strangers for a reason you never think it will come into your life. That's something different. So that's how I started. It's very daunting.
Thank you so much, Diane, for your input. And definitely, it's been daunting for me as well. And I'm sure for many people here in the chat as well. So, Dina, tell us about your experience.
Yeah, I think right now I'm okay with networking, but when I first started in university, because I went to business school, so they always told me, you got to network, you got to network. And I was so scared. So in high school, I was actually like really shy. And well, I still think I'm an introvert, but I was super shy and like super quiet. Like I never spoke. I never raised my hand in class. So when I got to university and they suddenly said, okay, you have to go to these huge networking events and meet all of these professional people, I was super scared. And yeah, I think the biggest part was I thought I had nothing to offer as a student, like as a, I don't know, maybe 19 or 20-year-old. I would meet people at these networking events who are like 10 or 20 or 30 years into their career, and I wouldn't know what to say because I guess so in business school, they always teach you networking is like a two-way street. You have to give value, like you give value to the other person gives you value, you help each other and you support each other. But I felt like as a young person, I had nothing to give. Like I was studying. But what I found was like, so here's a tip for everybody who might feel like they don't have confidence because they aren't sure what to like give to other people. You can be creative with this. So when you go to, let's say, like a business networking, you might think that the things you can give are like career advice or mentorship or something related to business or career things. But what you can, so if you feel like you can't give anything like in that area, you can ask about other things happening in that person's life. Like maybe that person's spouse is looking for piano lessons or something, and you took piano lessons before and you can recommend a teacher. Or maybe that person has a dog, and then you can talk about pets, and maybe you can recommend, like, I don't know, your favorite pet store, or go to this dog beach. So you can be creative with like what you give. It doesn't have to be like a business or super formal kind of career thing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Dina. And I think everybody's taking your advice here in the chat, and everybody's sharing what they can do for others. And that's brilliant. And I think that's what we're here for, right? Most of the people here do want to learn about networking strategies, which brings us to our next question, which is, what are your best strategies that you've used to network? Diane, would you like to start?
No, I think I don't know whether or not it's called strategies. And nowadays, networking become quite a natural thing for me. So I think it's really the only strategy I would think I purposely planned, and every time I go really is a questionnaire I ask myself, so mapping out what is the objective I try to network this time. And do a lot of research on the person or people, the organizers, or the key people in the event that I probably will meet. Just be thick-skinned. If there's the best strategy, I'll tell you, is be thick-skinned.
Thank you so much, Diane. I think definitely as women, especially, we do need to have a thick skin and remember that when we're networking. How about you, Dina? What are your strategies?
Yeah, I think my biggest one is definitely following up with people after I meet them. Because a lot of the times, like let's say right now in this kind of meeting, there's like 60 or now there's almost 80 people, and maybe you'll get to talk to 10 people. But after this, how are you going to like stay in contact with them? So usually, like if it's in person, grab their business card or follow them on LinkedIn or get their email or something. And then even if you only talk to them for about 2 minutes during the event, like you can research what they do afterwards. So this is what I used to do as a student. I would meet so many people at an event, grab all their business cards, and then the next day I would be on LinkedIn and Google just researching, okay, this person works at this place. What else do they do? Maybe did they go to the same university as me? Is there is there a common interest? And then I would send them an email or send them a LinkedIn message just saying, hey, it was really nice meeting you. And, I see that, hey, we went to the same university, or we have this in common. That's super cool. And you can start a conversation from there. So I think the follow-up is really important. It's the networking event is important, but it's more important to keep those contacts and not just, take the business cards and then put them in a pile in your cabinet. Don't do that.
I agree. Like the other thing I will add on to it is really, I think networking is one thing. Network is not a goal. The goal is building relationship. And whatever really transition a networking event to something really meaningful is whether or not you can build a relationship afterwards. So you follow up, and Dina, you mentioned, is very important. So for me, I will always try to build a relationship after a networking event. A lot of my networking event is actually many one-on-one settings, or people I'm meeting, very interesting people I met in the event. Not a lot, because I don't remember everyone. So I will make sure that I remember 3 people. 2 or 3 people in the event, all the one-on-one sessions, I will make sure that I follow up in the intention of building a relationship. And relationship is a long journey, right? It's not something I met you today and tomorrow there's something we have in common. We can help each other right away. It's really a genuine coming from your heart, and you really wanting to getting to know this person a little more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can I add something else to that? So with the following up, I think it's great to message as many people as you can, but I always try to set up like 2 calls or 2 coffee chats with 2 people from one networking event. I used to do this as a student. Like I would be so overwhelmed with, oh, wow, I met so many people. But the next day I would ask myself, like, who in this group of people, like, do I think I really, really want to connect with? And then I would ask them for a phone call or meet up for coffee. And I would, when you send the email or when you send the message, make sure you tell them what exactly like you want to talk about and try to give value that way.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Dina and Diane. And I definitely agree with both of you that networking is about building a relationship. And that's what we will be doing today as well. So now we're on to the second phase of our networking. We'll be dividing ourselves into 2 breakout rooms. One will be led by Diane and one with Dina. You all are free to join whichever room you want to. And then we'll have a more intimate chat with each speaker. So I'm going to be publishing the breakout rooms now, and feel free to join any breakout room. And within 20 minutes, we'll be back here to discuss what we learned. Okay.
Smash all the emails. It's just not gonna work for me, not working for me. And so, I filter out who do I really want to meet. And if there's something I think is a really meaningful conversation, I would really, really want to spending the time and to understand the key issues that I want to understand. So I always tell them, okay, give me a little bit background of your company. I will tell you I want to understand the 3 things. I'll give you half an hour. Let's talk about that. So I wonder whether or not, from my perspective, advice to you is whether or not maybe not schedule the full hour with anyone. Maybe just asking what's the top 3 concerns or issues or strategic initiative that you try to take from your organization perspective, and ask them. I'm asking for hours talk about the 3 thing in here, or half an hour talk about the 3 things. So for the person to prepare a little bit before they have a conversation with you, hopefully that can help you to managing the time a little bit. And I still think I don't know how you hitting this list, saying here's the list of the people I need to talk to. And I don't know you do a lot of filters in there or not, assuming you do. So and I think maybe fine tune the filter a little bit more and just really trying to so nowadays I found the meeting invitation to me before from 1 hour, now down to 45 minutes, down to 30 minutes. Some people just say 20 minutes. So I think that's a common problem we all have, is managing time. So in order for the meeting to be very effective in 20 minutes, hit whatever you need. It's not a building relationship. So let's just be clear, right? That kind of meeting is not building relationship. It's about filtering out the 20 people I'm trying to talk to, which one I want to build a relationship with. Right. So I would say shorten the first meeting, very clear on here's a few things I wanted to talk to. And once you get into the conversation, I'm sure there are conversations within 5 minutes, you said, my God, take me out of this conversation, right? So then you will filtering down to, okay, here's from the 20 people I want to talk to, there's 5 of them is I actually want to build a relationship with, and then do a longer meeting after. So that's my 2 cents on that. Certainly, if there's anybody else in this, in my breakout room, having a similar experience want to share, and let's share the experience in here.
Go ahead, Dr. D. Holstein.
Just D works.
Okay.
So I just have a couple of things to add. I have a very diverse, very, very broad network of people, and it's like moving parts all the time. And you're right, there are sometimes people can't pick up on conversational cues about this isn't working, or this is enough, or that sort of thing. So that's always fun. So a couple things I do is I write LinkedIn articles just to kind of keep in front of the larger audience, and I get some and I shout out to people in the notes underneath to engage them, and I try to mix it up. I do newsletters, for like just little newsletters for my personal and then my more professional sphere from my email. So there's like layers of this. I invite people to roundtables and parties. So we have like little cocktail parties or little dinner parties or little meet and greets. So I'll bring a group of people together that I think might be interested in a topic. And the last thing is I also invite people to do walk and talk. So I don't know if you know what a walk and talk is, but you know, basically put your ears in and walk and talk. And just like it's, you know, you're kind of multi-purpose using your time. Anyways, that's my 2 cents as well.
I think you should be on the panel instead of me, to be honest. Dee? There's Laura.
Great, thank you. Well, okay, I have a few things to add to that. And, you know, Dee, a lot of what you said, that is kind of where I was going with this too, you know, and I know a couple of people in chat suggested batching the meetings. Jacqueline, did you not say that you were with an association?
My volunteer work is with the American Marketing Association, so I have a full-time job on top of that.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is, you know, if there are events that you are holding, and if some of these people that have connected with you are in the marketing sphere, you know, one way you could do that is say, oh, I'd love to invite you to this event and, you know, take part in it, see, you know, where sort of similar interests might lie there. But I do want to kind of address this idea of only picking the people that you're interested in connecting with. I know that this is a way to manage a high volume, and yes, do that, but don't discount the other ones completely, because I have to tell you, I have had a wide, diverse network for some time now. And I've had people who, you know, seemingly have no connection to what I do, and yet they've referred me business and I have become friends with them. And I just think you never know when you're going to have an opportunity to help them and when they're going to have an opportunity to help you. So yes, in terms of managing meetings, you might need to look at that as a filter, you know, and a prioritization method. But just bear in mind that, you know, sometimes it's really, really worth making those connections, and you never know. You just never know. And I know through my networking, I have helped people get jobs, and I have had people refer work to me. I have maintained some great working relationships, but I've also developed some really deep friendships. In fact, my 2 best friends that I have, you know, that I would call my best friends right now, I met them through networking. So it can be a real bonus for you.
No, I totally agree with that. I mean, that's all about building relationships. If your initial networking event become to a relationship building, and you can find your best friend, your mentor, your business partner, that's all great. That's all great. But just, I think it's a very, depending on the purpose and depends on your nature of why you want to network and the nature of you as a person, right? So you're, you know, for me, naturally, I'm not a natural, like I mentioned earlier, you know, I'm not a natural person to go out networking with a lot of people. And, you know, also there's time management is always a concern for me. So I think there's different strategy for, let's find out what's working for everyone, right?
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, there are so many different ways to accomplish this. And the other thing is, Jacqueline, you're in control of your schedule. So if you just block out some time, you know, once a week, you block out 2 hours to make 2 or 3 different connections, and you just schedule people in accordingly, you know, and if they're really keen on networking with you and connecting with you, you know, they'll slot into those scheduled times.
Thank you.
Amarita, so I don't know why you're looking for me to be on your panel. So you have Dr. D, you have Laura.
Definitely. We've had some really amazing women here who've asked us great questions. I've also had a few questions privately in the chat. And one for you is, Diane, as somebody who's been established in your career, do you still think it's a good thing to actively network with people? I mean, obviously, we've all spoken about it, but what are your personal thoughts?
You know, I do significant amount of like spend a significant amount of time networking nowadays, like continue, and has to be. And this has now become to a job for me to networking as well, because you know, Laura actually mentioned earlier, you know, you don't know who you're meeting and what this person become to your friends, become to your sponsor, become your business partner. So I found, you know, just going networking to broaden my eyes and thinking about, okay, there's a different way to live. And that itself is a great perspective for me. And last year, there's some significant event happened in my career, and I got getting into networking, had to get networking even more than before. So nowadays, I would say my 8 hours job, 4 hours out of 8 hours is networking. It's meeting people. It's talking about different ideas and how we innovate. You know, sometimes you can only getting those ideas through networking. So, you know, I think it's again, but it's, to me, I wouldn't call it networking. I just call it building relationship, either industry relationship or personal relationship. So it's a significant, and actually getting more and more important.
Thank
Can
you.
I add something?
Yeah, of course, Angela, go ahead.
So full disclosure, I know Diane, she and I used to work together, and I consider her to be among one of my closest friends. She's an amazing person. She says that networking doesn't come naturally to her, but she is one of the most well-connected people I know. But it's more than just the number of people she knows. There is a depth to all of that. I would say that the majority of the people that she connects with and networks with would count her as a friend. So from knowing Diane, I would say she takes a lot of time and investing in networking, but it's really about that building relationships, because she has deep connections with so many people in the community in Vancouver, abroad, across within industry. So she's amazing. Don't let her fool you when she says she's not good at networking, because she is. I also want to say, because there was a question about, you know, at what point in your career is networking not important? And I would say it's always important, as Diane said, but again, not about networking. It's not about just grabbing somebody's business card and then sending them an email saying, I want to pitch you my product. It's really taking the time to get to know the person and establishing. And if you are a salesperson, I think Jacqueline, you were the one that asked about, you know, if your role is sales, you know, get to know the person. And as Dina said, offer something first, or even a couple of times before you do the pitch. Like Diane, I probably get about 5 either LinkedIn or email messages a day with people saying, can I have 20 minutes of your time so you can tell me what your biggest priorities are so I can then pitch my product to you? And I almost never respond to those. But where I've established a relationship with people, I will not only give them the time of day, I will refer them to other people. So for sure, go deep instead of going broad.
Well, thanks, Angela. You're very kind. You know, sometimes if I look back my career, this afternoon I had a conversation with someone in Saskatchewan, and it's actually one of the CEO in a big organization in Saskatchewan. He said, Diane, I wanted to know in BC about this and this and this. I said, you can talk to this person in this organization. I'll introduce you this person to another organization. And he said, well, how did you know that so many people? And Angela, when you talk about that, and I just reflect, you know, I didn't even know how many people, like, how did I know those people in one way or another? The only thing I would say is it's constant work. Back to the question Amrita mentioned earlier, do I still networking? I'm networking every single day, significant amount of time. And over time, those people become to a really a database or repository in my head. So when people start talking about different things, like connecting people with each other and being connector, itself is a big networking exercise. So that makes you make people know, so you're thinking about them, and your bring opportunity will bring different value to them. So I would say sometimes networking is not about you need to know people, it's you helping other people to know the other person, you being a connector, and being connector itself is networking.
Thank you so much for adding that, Diane. And also it brings us to Dina's point where she said that always ask for 2 more people that you can talk to after this networking session while you are. And obviously it's about building relationships. So do we have any other question from the audience? Feel free to unmute yourself or send it in the chat if you'd like.
Hi, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
My name's Agnes. I'm from Toronto. Nice to be here. I have so I think I've been networking with a particular colleague for about a year. I reached out to him. I haven't been working, so I wanted to create a relationship with this particular company. And I feel like it's become more personal than, I mean, it's like, I feel like the depth is there, but there's not much professional exchange. So I'm wondering, and I'm like, okay, well, I thought that, you know, at some point we would, like, not that he would offer me a job, but at least entertain the idea, but none of that has happened. So maybe I'm not adding enough value to him, I'm not sure. And also, if you have any books or any resources about how you became better at networking, since you said it didn't come naturally to you. Diane, yeah, this is, I think it's for Diane.
Does your friend know? Does your friend know you're actually looking for an opportunity to work in the company? That's the part of the reason for networking. Did you tell him or her?
You cut out for a second. Did I?
Oh,
yeah, it's a he.
So I said, he. I'm just curious. That
yeah.
Does he know that? Have you talked to him? Say, I'm actually interested to know if there's opportunity for me in your organization. Does the person know?
Yeah, I've been direct maybe a couple times. I've asked him something like, what would it take to get hired at your company? And then another time, I asked him like, well, could you create a position? Because he's like, we're not hiring. So like in different ways I mentioned it. So I'm not sure if that's enough or if you have other suggestions.
No, I'm just curious. I'm more thinking from the other person's perspective of why. Like I'm not as why it has not matured. Or maybe that's just, you know, Angela Champ probably is an HR person. She will know more than I do. And how long you have been working with this person, try to get an opportunity in the organization?
Well, it's been about a year, and like maybe on average we talk maybe once a month. Yeah.
But you have been in contact and talking, networking with this person for over a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, so I, you know, it takes me. It depends on what position you're talking about, but you know, I haven't really having covered something like that in the past. You know, if people networking, let's swap the role. When I was trying to find some opportunities, and it didn't happen to me very often, go out finding activity, finding a career in that way, but it did happen before, and I haven't really into a situation that I'm targeting a organization for a year and knowing the person who has the power to bring me in, but in the year it didn't happen. For me, is very quickly I would realize that's not my expectations, not realistic to working in this organization for many different ways. Then I will give up that expectation and just purely networking relationship as a friend. In the situation, a lot of time, if that's a real opportunity and actually mature quite quickly, I would say, and so I haven't happened that way. So on the other side, if people networking with me, if I intentionally know intentionally the person want networking with me is finding opportunity in the organization, I will intentionally create that opportunity for assessment, and if it is a fit and if there's opportunity, it's going to happen, and I will always keep eyes on that person. And that's probably Angela Chan will have that experience with me. So when we try to hire a CHRO in our organization, and the moment I met Angela, and I know she's the one, I'm looking forward to work with. And it didn't happen the first round for many different reasons. But when it come again, I reach out to her. I said, okay, are you available and working with me, with the organization? So I haven't really had so I think there's some things missing in there, and I couldn't pinpoint what it is. And so I think you need clear expectation, and is that expectation still realistic? If it's not, and maybe transition the relationship into personal relationship rather than a professional one. If it's a really real opportunity, I think you need to figure out why is he a decision maker. Is he really can call the shot, saying, okay, let me create a position for you? If he is, but he's not doing that, then I think there's some disconnection. I don't know what it is. It's to me, it's not very normal for a year relationship, in-depth relationship, and doesn't translate into something real.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'll rethink that one. Yeah. Thank you.
I'd love to add to what Diane said, because she brings up such great points. So if he may not be a decision maker, as Diane said, or it may be something more transactional, like they don't have budget and FTE, and he feels awkward telling you. But what you could do is move it to a more professional relationship. I don't know what industry this is or what kind of a role you're looking for, but maybe start sharing, like on occasion, hey, I came across this article that's about your industry or about this job that I want to do with your organization, about this field. Like, I'm in human resources, so I found this great article about human resources as it relates to your industry. I thought you might be interested in it. And you start making it more professional by the interactions you're having. So sending him articles, sending him, I heard this news clip, or I saw this TED talk, doing that. And secondly, looking at, is it that company specifically you want to join, or the industry? And if it's broader, if it's more than just the industry, more than just the company, you can even ask them, look, I'm interested in getting into this industry in this kind of a role. I know you've been saying there's nothing really happening in your company. Is there anybody at another company that you can introduce me to that I might be able to pick their brain about getting into that field? You're taking the pressure off of him if he's in a position where he's not a decision maker or he's not able to create a position. But you're opening the door to, as Diane said, expand your horizons, look elsewhere. It might not happen in that organization. Maybe it'll happen in a different organization, but he can be that conduit for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Angela and Diane, for adding that and really helping us understand as well, right, how we can get the most out of our networking relationships as well. So is there any other question from the audience? We still have about 4 minutes left, so we can do one more question. Feel free to unmute yourself or send the question in the chat if you'd feel like that's better.
Hi, I have a question actually. This is Xiaochang from Montreal. It's my first time to be attend the LinkedIn activity. So actually, I joined the meeting because I'm actually like Diana, like I'm not really comfortable in a networking event, and when I'm there, I don't know like which people. If there's all strangers, like I just stand around waiting for others, like, to start a conversation. But otherwise, I don't know how to approach someone, like with, especially with strangers. So I just want to know if there's any, I don't know, like exercise or tips for me.
I totally understand that. Like, that's for me it's just practice, really the practice. And you go to an event, you probably need, like for me, I always study that event. If I purposely go to that event, and there's must be something I want to get out of it. And then, really practice to, I tell you, in every single event, there's tons of people in your situation. They're shy to networking, they're finding something, try to talk to others. So when you go to talk to people, you think in your head, you're thinking, that's awkward for me to do this. I tell you, a lot of people in that room are on the same boat. So it really is about, getting out of your comfort zone, really practice. To me, it's practice. Know who might be. Most of the event having a table setting or something, right? Like a group you to some group in there. Just the best thing I can tell you is practice and go out to talk to people. Angela, I have to ask you that question. I do know you have a book, your own book. You wrote 2 books probably about the career and go through career or something. In your book, you talked about those kind of networking. You talk about go to event. You talked about go out of a comfort zone. I just feel like you're the better person than I am to share your experience as HR person. I know our staff go to you asking for advice on, this kind of event setting things. Do you want to talk about what you share in your book? Some squeaky career or something? I cannot remember the name of the book.
My book is called The Squiggly Line Career. I just put it in comments. I know we're about to run out of time, so I'll say this really fast. Diane's right. Everyone's feeling awkward because most people do not like rejection. It's a horrible feeling, and we're social animals. We're not really meant. Rejection actually causes physical and mental pain for human beings. It's been researched and studied. So, Xiao Jiang, if it makes you feel better, everybody feels that way. And so, some things you could do to ease is that if you know anybody else in an environment like this and you want, maybe ask them to do an introduction of you. If there's a comment, if you're there for a conference or something that's brought you there, ask them, like start an easy conversation like, what do you think of the conference so far? Is there anything that's sort of been an aha moment for you? And what you do is you open up an easy conversation, which probably the person's even hopeful for, because they may even be saying like, nobody's talking to me and I don't know how to bring this up with anybody. So there's very easy ways to do that. And if you do know anybody in that event or session and you want to meet somebody else, get that person to advocate for you. Get that person to say, oh, by the way, have you met Diane? You need to meet Diane because she is phenomenal. Let me tell you what you might have in common. So get somebody to advocate for you.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Diane.
Thank you so much, everyone. We're now going to be moving back to the main room, and I'll see you guys there for our 3rd part of our event today. So see you there.
Amarita, I was reading one of the comments someone shared in our breakout room earlier about the way to getting confidence by volunteer, joining associations, joining media. I don't know who posted in there. That's a great advice as well. But at the end of the day, like for me, it's just practice. You got to practice.
Absolutely, Diane. It definitely boils down to that, and you have to overcome your fear. I think there's this book, I'm forgetting the author, but it's called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. So that's definitely my strategy for networking. So Dina, how was your room? We would love to know more about what you guys did.
Yeah, we talked about quite a lot of things. We had I asked everybody like what they're trying to use networking for. So some people are looking for jobs, some people work in companies, some people have businesses. We talked a lot about, I guess, like more detailed strategies, like how, like exactly what do you say when you're sending someone sending a LinkedIn connection, adding that optional note, or how do you leave a networking conversation? Yeah, we talked about a lot, but I think, I guess a big point is really like, as long as you can communicate the value to somebody, and as long as you try to make the message like as custom and personalized to that person as possible, then they'll probably reply.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dina. And Diane, would you like to share any last words before we move on to the third phase?
You know, I'm just I'm at my room. I tell you, I'm really impressed with my room because there are more experts than I am in my room. So you know, we create an environment people can share their practice, and I just again, I'm thinking. Amrita, I'm really honored to you invite me to this being on the panel. I do think there's a lot of great people in your network, and I think maybe the thing I would say is maybe this is your network, and this is maybe you looking into what you have already in this meeting, looking into their LinkedIn profile, look into what they're doing, and there's a lot of talents in here.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I would ask a question and other people would suggest other ways of doing things. And yeah, in my group, I was surprised. There was, wait, who is we were talking about how do you, during the coffee meeting, like how do you keep track of everybody you meet after you have all these meetings? And we talked about like taking notes, and someone has a OneNote, I guess, OneNote document folder with all the notes. It's super cool.
Okay, that's really great. Thank you, Dina and Diane, for your wonderful inputs. Now we'll be moving on to smaller networking sessions. So we'll be going into breakout rooms of 5 or 6, and we'll be finally getting to apply all that we've learned today and network with each other. So I do have a list of questions that I've posted in the chat for you guys so that you can start the conversation. If you're really scared, use these questions to get the conversation started. Make sure to copy paste it because apparently, well, technology, so just copy paste it so that you have the questions in your Zoom room. One question in particular, and this was suggested by Dina, is about having one give and asking for a take. So basically you can give something to the people in your networking room and ask for something in return. For example, if I am a sustainability professional, I can give them one free diagnostic session, and in return, maybe get a chance to talk to other people in their industry. So think very creatively about what you can give and what you can take in return. But please be open-minded about it, and definitely have a great conversation. We'll be having 2 breakout rooms. So one right now for 15 minutes, and then again after that for 15 minutes. So feel free to join. I'll be doing the breakout rooms in a second. Sorry about the technology, but here, just give me 1 second. Okay, so you should be able to go into your rooms now. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. I think most of us made it back. So thank you technology gods for letting us have this. But I hope your conversations were great in your own breakout rooms. We will be doing another one of these, hopefully with new people. But if you're stuck with the same people, feel free to move around the breakout rooms. You should be able to do that. So yeah. Let me just create the rooms again. Yep. So, oh, thank you, Laura, for joining us, and we'll see you again for the next event, hopefully. Thank you. Okay, now you'll be joining your own breakout rooms again.
Got cut off. We wanted to hear what you had to say, Lynette.
Go ahead, Lynette. Feel free.
Yeah, Lynette, I'm looking forward to hear what you have to say.
Well, 30 seconds. I was just, Angela was asking, you know, whether we do networking, whether we stick together in networking events or we, you know, go on our own. So I said, you know, it's a combination of both, depending on the events, depending on the people. Sometimes we go together and then I stick with them. There are times where we go together and then like Diane, you know, we split up and meet up later. And there are times where I go to the events alone because it's interesting enough for me.
That's a very good point, Lynette. And I think it took me a lot of time to learn that because I'm definitely an introvert. So going off on my own was not the best thing for me to do. But I think definitely what we've learned today is to feel the fear and do it anyway and step out of our comfort zones and just do it. Okay, so I went through almost all of the breakout rooms and the conversations were really great. I'm so glad all of you lovely ladies could join us and give your input. All the breakout rooms for Dina and Diane were both filled with ladies who also told their point of views and shared their stories. So I'm really grateful for that. And I really want to thank you all for joining us this evening, and especially to Dina and Diane, who shared their insights and were really honest about their journeys and for sharing their time with us. And I'm sure that many of us feel more empowered than we were before to start networking and building that confidence and making sure that we continue those relationships. So thank you so much for giving Lean In your time and energy. A recording of today's event will be shared with you all in our post-event email. And we would love for you to join us next May for an event on conflict management. Of course, feel free to connect with everybody on LinkedIn. I'm sure a lot of people have shared their LinkedIns on chat. I'll try to consolidate the chat. If I'm not able to, I'm really sorry. I'm not good with technology, but feel free to reach out to me and I'll connect you with anybody because I have everybody's email addresses. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us today, and I wish you well on this evening. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Amrita, for facilitating. Diane and Dina, lovely to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, Angela. Bye, everyone.
Doing well.
Thank you so much, Diane and Dina. You guys were great.